Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into something absolutely fascinating. We're looking directly at the Constitution of the Republic of Tajikistan, and we're going to break it down article by article with a laser focus on Chapter 8. Now, why Chapter 8? Because this is the chapter that completely designs the country's judicial system. So whether you're a legal scholar or just someone curious about how rights are actually protected and how justice is administered in Tajikistan, this visual guide is going to make those dense legal texts crystal clear. We'll explore exactly how the courts are structured, who actually gets to wear the judge's robe, and what ultimate protections are built in for everyday citizens. Okay, let's just get right into it. Chapter 8, titled simply Court, starts with Article 84, and this lays the absolute bedrock for an independent judicial power. It explicitly states that judicial power acts on behalf of the state, and its number one goal is to protect the rights and freedoms of individuals, as well as the interests of the state and organizations. It's a great reminder that these aren't just abstract philosophical ideas. This is literally the highest law of the land in action. To make all this legal text super easy to digest, we've broken it down into 5 quick parts: the court system overview, judge qualifications, trial procedures, the constitutional court, and finally, immunity and legal aid. So, Part 1, the court system overview. Let's start with the big picture and see what this judicial branch actually looks like. What's truly interesting here is the sheer size and breadth of the system established by Article 84. The Constitution sets up a massive, multi-tiered network. You've got the Constitutional Court, the Supreme Economic Court, military courts, and then this whole hierarchy of regional courts, including those for the Gorno-Badakhshan Autonomous Region, Dushanbe, and various city and district courts. It's designed to cover absolutely every geographic and legal necessity. But there is a crucial detail here, and it's huge. The creation of emergency or extraordinary courts is strictly prohibited. No exceptions. This is a fundamental safeguard to ensure that all justice goes through established, transparent, legal channels, basically preventing any rogue or temporary tribunals from ever seizing power. And speaking of stability, Article 84 doesn't just create these courts, it locks in the time frame for judicial service. The term of office for these judges is exactly 10 years. So why does that matter? Because a decade-long term gives judges the security they need. They can make decisions based purely on the law, without constantly looking over their shoulder or worrying about shifting political winds. Moving on to Article 86, we see how these courts are actually populated. While the judges serve those nice, long terms, getting them on the bench involves the executive branch. The president holds the authority to appoint and dismiss judges across specific lower and regional courts. That includes military courts, regional courts, and city or district courts, all guided by constitutional law. So you can clearly see the interaction between the executive and judicial branches right at the appointment phase. Which brings us to Part 2, qualifications of a judge. Let's look at what it actually takes to hold this immense power. Article 85 builds this really strict hierarchy of expertise. First off, every single judge must hold exclusively Tajik citizenship and possess a higher legal education. But notice the sliding scale for age and experience. For city, district, or military judges, you can be as young as 25 with just 3 years of professional experience. However, if you want to step up to the Supreme Court or regional courts like Dushanbe or GBAO, the bar jumps significantly. You have to be at least 30 years old with a minimum of 5 years of specific judicial experience. So the Constitution guarantees that the higher courts are staffed by far more seasoned legal minds. Now, once they're actually on the bench, how do they operate? Article 87 provides an incredibly powerful guarantee, stating that judges are entirely independent in their activities. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that they are subordinate only to the Constitution and the law, nothing else. In fact, the article goes out of its way to explicitly state that any outside interference in their activities is absolutely prohibited. And really, that's the bedrock of a fair trial, right? Knowing the person judging you answers to the law and literally nothing else. To actively protect that independence, Article 90 outlines some incredibly strict ethical boundaries. Judges are barred from holding other jobs, they can't be political deputies, they're forbidden from joining political parties, and there's absolutely no running a side business. It completely shuts down potential conflicts of interest. But there is a really cool exception here. They are fully permitted, even encouraged, to engage in scientific, creative, and teaching activities. Meaning a judge can write textbooks, teach the next generation of lawyers, or contribute to legal science, feeding all that vast experience back into the community in a completely neutral way. Okay, Part 3, trial procedures and rules. We know who the judges are, so let's see how the actual trials work under Article 88. Article 88 sets up a profoundly fair system for anyone stepping into a courtroom. First, it mandates an adversarial process based on the absolute equality of the parties. It is a fair fight. Second, trials are generally open to the public to ensure transparency, though, of course, the law does allow exceptions for highly sensitive cases. And critically, trials are conducted in the state language or the language of the local majority. But what if you don't speak that language? No problem. The Constitution legally guarantees you a translator so that every single person fully understands exactly what is happening in their case. Now, moving just past those trial rules in Article 88 brings us to Article 89, which establishes the highest, most specialized authority in the entire judicial framework. That brings us to Part 4, the Constitutional Court. This is a highly unique and incredibly powerful body. This isn't your everyday trial court. This is the court that literally judges the laws themselves. Article 89 dictates the precise makeup of this court. It is composed of exactly 7 people. That's it. Just 7 individuals trusted with immense constitutional power. And what's particularly fascinating about the geographical inclusivity of this constitution is that it explicitly requires one of those 7 members to be a representative from the Gorno-Badakhshan Autonomous Region. Because of the sheer weight of their decisions, the qualifications here are the most rigorous in the entire chapter. Just like other judges, they need sole Tajik citizenship, higher legal education, and they must be at least 30 years old. But here's the big jump. They need a minimum of 7 years of professional experience. Furthermore, when they're elected, they don't just take an oath in some quiet back room. They take their solemn oath directly before a session of the Majlis-e-Milli, the upper house of parliament, which just highlights the incredible gravity of their role. So why go through all this trouble? Well, look at the powers outlined in the second half of Article 89. This court determines whether laws, government acts, and even treaties actually comply with the Constitution. They also act as the ultimate referee if different state bodies get into a dispute over their authority. And the real kicker? The decisions and acts of the Constitutional Court are absolutely final. There's no appealing them. They literally have the last word on the supreme law of the land. Finally, Part 5, Immunity and Legal Aid. Let's look at the ultimate protections built in Chizer's Chapter 8. These are the safety nets for both the judges administering the law and the everyday citizens subject to it, found in Articles 91 and 92. First, for the judges, Article 91 ensures that judges possess immunity. They cannot be arbitrarily arrested or criminally prosecuted without the explicit consent of the body that elected or appointed them. This is absolutely vital because it allows judges to make unpopular but legally correct decisions without fear of a retaliatory arrest by the police or angry officials. The only exception, if they are literally caught red-handed in the act of committing a crime. And for the citizen, Article 92 offers the most important protection of all. It explicitly guarantees legal aid at all stages of an investigation and a court trial. This means that from the very second you are investigated, all the way through a complex, drawn-out trial, the Constitution ensures you have the right to legal defense. You are never meant to face the power of the state alone. So, we've gone article by article through Chapter 8. We've seen exactly how the courts are structured, the rigorous standards set for those who wear the robe, and the immense protections guaranteed to you, from fair trial rules to mandatory legal aid. Knowing that this incredibly sophisticated system is designed to protect rights and state interests, and that your defense is quite literally written into the supreme law, the only question left to ponder is this: how will you step up, stay informed, and exercise your constitutional rights? Thank you for exploring this with us today on The Explainer. Keep questioning and keep learning.